Hey guys, so this is Andrew and Peter. We want to do a joint recap just for fun. How are you, Peter?
I am great. How are you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing well, thank you so much.
So we
Yeah,
all
the
have to be careful out
volatility.
there.
Yeah, the volatility it has been amazing. What happened? So the reason that I wanted to do this at the end of the day was just I wanted to see what the market is doing. This is definitely a very volatile market. And this is a very, very interesting point that markets stayed, we gapped down a little bit. So, we opened at the previous day close was at 261 SPY. And then we gapped down. And then we took off really in the afternoon. Market went all the way. It was going to be green for a day. And then suddenly in the half an hour, everyone dumped their position. Why do you think, Peter? I mean, why do you think these big drops before the close are happening?
Well, it's funny because you say that because I'd said in the pre-market show we were talking about the Fridays are normally lower volume days and therefore you don't get the same big moves. So I said I expect us to have a fairly flat day where things will chop around, and it looked like I was going to be right until about 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock. Everything was moving sideways, and then as you say, it sort of spiked up. Now the spike up was because they did announce that they have agreed on the bill, the aid package for the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So and President Trump said he's going to sign that at 4 o'clock, and there'll be a press conference at 5. So that's what led to the market going up. But Andrew, I honestly don't know. Then what changed? Because suddenly at 3:30, as you say, like it lost all of it and dropped right back down. I didn't see any news particularly that caused that drop.
Yeah, and that's a very serious drop. It seems that nobody's trusting the market over the weekend. Maybe, I mean, we had a couple of really nice days. I mean, 3 days were really really nice, and everyone, including Wall Street Journal, actually announced that okay, the bear market is over. Now we are entering a bull market. But generally speaking, I mean, usually the market should test the lows one more time before really the bull market starts. And if it fails to test the lows, I mean, even if it comes around 230, 234, and then, you can say, and it's still volatility is really high. Usually the bear market ends when the volatility comes down, and then the bulls will take over and then take the market toward the bull side. So today was just something that maybe it's a sign that the bear market is not finished yet, and we have to really wait until the dust settles and see how much damage has already happened to the economy after all of these the stimulant package and stuff. But overall it's very interesting. This drop is really really amazing and tells us something about smart money and how Wall Street is really thinking about staying on cash or staying in positions. Other than that, I mean, we had a pretty good day. I had a pretty good day, and I mean, it started from our AMD. AMD is one of those stocks that never disappoints. So just look at this this double top that you saw. I mean, this 47.88 is a level. I don't know if anyone in the chat room caught it, but this is an amazing, double top. Kind of a reverse head and shoulder, some people would say, just never really broke above 47.88. And these levels are, I call them magic. Some people make fun. But what is this level? What is this 47.88? It's 2 days ago high. Just 2 days ago high. I mean, and this is an automatic level that we actually find on DAS, the price marker. Yesterday low, yesterday high, 2 days ago low, and 2 days ago high. It's automatic. You don't need to do anything. So the DAS would put it for you automatically, and you see just how beautifully it really acted as a very powerful resistance. And then after that, it just dropped. Of course, market had an effect, but AMD has been really trading really nice. I myself traded at the open for an opening range breakup. So as you see here, stock was weak at the open below the VWAP, but all of these dojis were very interesting. That these dojis are really, every time tried to go down, it bought back up, tried to sell off, bought back up, and eventually it squeezed up. And I jumped this for opening range breakup at 46.54, and it went all the way up above 47.10 or something like that. Did you trade, Peter, this one in the morning?
Yeah, I trade AMD not as successfully as you. I actually took a short right off the open, knowing that it would be a scalp. I was seeing the weakness, and I took a really quick scalp basically in the first 5 minutes, and got a small little partial on that. And then I did go long a little bit later, somewhere around 10 o'clock, and got a small pull up. I got a partial and then got stopped out. So
Yeah, so somewhere
yeah,
around
you can
here
see
you went
sort of
long.
as it's moving above VWAP right there, it moved
Yeah.
up and then it just wicked down and caught me. So I've got a rule that once I take a partial, I will always stop at break even. And it was right exactly where Andrew's drawing, right in there that it came up. I took a partial at the top, and then that little wick of that one little spinning top candle
Yeah,
at about 10:03, I think, stopped me out. So
yeah. So
I wanted to mention on AMD, Andrew, you're absolutely right about how powerful those levels are in the double tops. You were looking at a 5-minute chart when you looked at those two tops. And being that we were in the room talking with our members as well, one of the things that we noticed was each of those double tops was a double top itself if you look at it on the 1-minute chart.
wow.
So it really reinforced how that level was really it was bouncing off of it like time after time throughout the day today.
Exactly. So that's a double top in 1-minute chart when we are really struggling around this level. And this is obviously a serious battle that people want to go up, but they can't. So they go up. And this is what I was trying to say. The market usually has to test the high or test the low before changing the trend. I mean, this pullback comes, test it again. Now this is a serious drop. Same as this bear market. I mean, we are still need to test the low somehow. Maybe not exactly to the exact low, but we have to test and see if the economy has the potential for reversal or repair or not. And same here. And as Peter mentioned, this is a top, come down, test it again, one more time, push it, but it can't really hold it, close it, and then eventually drops. And that's definitely market drop here kind of caused that effect. But yeah, previous day close is also another one of those levels that it's very, very important. And again, it's an automatic level. You don't need to any magic. The previous day close is 47.50 on AMD. Sorry, this one. And this dashed line on my chart, and you see obviously a huge rejection here. All for almost every stock is having this rejection around 47.50 previous day close. It's very great. You mentioned something, Peter, about risk management, and it actually comes to the next ticker that we traded. Look at this CCL. Sorry, I just came in and look at this magic level. This 1588 is a level, daily level. Look, this popped up, exactly bounced back from this and then go down. So that's very interesting. We're gonna see where this 1588 level came. But regarding trade management on CCL, I traded CCL both to the short side and to the long side. So to the short side, after this big drop, I went short for a crack. Really wanted to get to the 15 and below that, and it did actually go down because low of the day is actually on 14. But as a scalper, I could something come. But my average was here. I did partial out a little bit, and now I got out of the break even. I didn't really let this pass through my entry for a short position. For a long position. Here, when this is squeezed up above the VWAP, I realized that okay, everyone who is a short here now they're getting squeezed, and now this is a good long. So I jumped in for a long, and I started scaling out. These moving averages and acted as a very important support or resistance level, both on a 5-minute chart and 1-minute chart. And then the last piece I got out at the break even. I do not let the trade that is already, it's called cash flow and trade management. The trade that is already in your favor, you don't want to let it, you don't want to get it stopped out here or stopped out here, because then you're already giving back all of the profit. So that's a point that Peter mentioned about trade management. Did you trade CCL, Peter?
Yeah, I didn't trade CCL. It was so choppy yesterday that it actually made me scared of it. But I see on your chart there, look at 1030. Look at how it hit the VWAP, bounced off it a couple times, and made a nice smooth move down. Look at all those 5-minute red candles in a row as it went all the way down from $15.20 down to $14. So it was a good move, but I didn't trade it.
That is actually a very good point, and this is going to be the topic of my presentation in a couple of weeks about moving averages. When the stock is so weak and is doing a consolidation below the VWAP, and the slope of moving averages are all negative, and look at the slope of the VWAP, especially moving averages, are all negative, that shows that there is a potential for a later drop. And I'm gonna have a lot of examples to talk about that. But that shows that a stock is still in a downtrend, and this is a consolidation. I definitely don't want to go long here with the hope that maybe we can squeeze above the VWAP. And even if we squeeze, we still have a lot of resistances that we have to get over it. And as you see, the huge resistances here, it's really tough to get out of these resistances. So there is really no point to take this trade to the long side. Definitely short side is better. But in this example, again, this is something that is going to be a PowerPoint presentation for us. When the stock consolidated here, I saw a huge ask at 15 around this time. It did bounce back, but this is something that I found. Usually when the stock is having a very obvious level 2 signal, right now we have something around here, if it comes back toward it again, it's a really good trade. It's a really good short. I was done by the day. I was actually in a conference call by 10:30. But if I was watching it, I would have definitely started trying to get a short somewhere around here, because we were going now to test the low. And that huge signal, if it if it doesn't work previously, if it comes back to it, sometimes it doesn't come back. But if it does come back, it's a very powerful signal. I actually would definitely take this position again to the short side. But I didn't, because I was done with my day. And yeah, it did actually crack this. It did actually crack all the way down to 14. I think the low of the day is at 14.05. And again, we had this level. This is one of the levels that bounced back. It comes from this price marker, 15.05. Just unbelievable how these magic levels work. Another level that I wanted to actually mention, that it's this 1588, and I want to show you how we actually find that. Peter and Carlos and Norm are finding these levels. This 1588 is a very interesting one on a daily chart. If you go into the daily chart, I have a bunch of levels. So obviously 4 levels that is very obvious is yesterday low, yesterday high, 2 days ago high, and 2 days ago low. And there is another level that I found is this one. This is the 1588 level. Where is the 1588 level that I found? That should be here. Is it the high of pre-market? Yeah, so it's a high of, sorry, it's a low of the pre-market. This this is a consolidation below the pre-market that I marked it as a potential low of the pre-market. This can also be a low of the pre-market level, but I usually look into the later during the time is a very solid level. I mean, obviously you can see this is a solid consolidation. This can also be a level, and this area around this area can be a low of the pre-market, but this for me would have been a more solid consolidation that the stock has bounced back. On a daily level, there's this level that I actually marked, this huge doji that I marked, that I think that one is the 1548 level. Yeah, I think let me get rid of all of these levels, and it seems that this this level, that 15 what is this level? Yeah, this is the level that we kind of bounced back from there, and it's already it's around 15. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Peter, before we wrap up?
No. Well, I mean, maybe yes. The one last thing I'll just mention, I had a good trade on Square today. A few of us traded it, including Brian in the room. Square was giving some good signals today for a short. Once I saw the weakness, I took it short, basically from VWAP. It's one of my favorite types of trades. So yeah, I had that was sort of my best trade today.
So where did you go short? I took one. Where did you go short, if I may ask?
I took one actually, right at 10 o'clock. It didn't quite reach VWAP. I took short with my stop at VWAP. You can see, or 958 or something right there.
Here,
and it was just, and I held and then sort of got stopped out. But then when I see that it didn't break VWAP, really what I did is I went back in short right at VWAP at about 10:18 or so.
Somewhere around here.
And then I was able to ride that for a little while to get a good trade. And because I was able to manage my risk so well, I could take a bigger size, and it was a great trade for me.
Nice, excellent. Well, congratulations. Yeah, no, that's amazing. So it was a wild week for sure. Definitely, it was a wild week. And looking at the SPY, just look at this candlestick that just happened. This is usually called a bad print. This is it's probably a bunch of trades that are happening. I don't think it's actually really a real trade. I think if you come down to time and sells, you might see something 263 or something like that. There might have been a few shares traded. That's what we call them bad prints. So not necessarily these 252. Yeah, so these are not necessarily means that there are trades happening around that. So that's what we call a bad print. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone. Have a good weekend. Remember social distancing. The faster we can help this thing become contained, the faster the market goes back high, make highs. And I don't think anyone is happy with such a volatile market, really. Oil has dropped significantly, again down 6%, and that makes a huge effect on a lot of industries and a lot of countries. Canadian dollar is still very weak. Canadian dollar, yeah, US dollar is just keep going stronger because Canadian dollar is a very commodity dependent. All right. Well, thank you so much, Peter. I know it's late in the afternoon. Still, it's the 1:30 in the afternoon here, so we have a full Friday here still to do some stuff. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Peter, and I guess
Thanks.
see you all Monday morning.
Take
Ciao.
care, everyone.